Welcome to NetSupport Radio, the official broadcaster of Bett.
So, a quick episode on NetSupport Radio, and I wanted to chat with you, Ollie. We've just sat together, done a panel at Bett, and we've been talking about how governance can support digital transformation. Some quite interesting ideas were shared by a number of panelists. What was your take from the discussion?
I really liked everybody's kind of frank and openness and approach to it, and I think that that's something that resonated. I know it resonates with you and it aligns with your thinking, but you know, from a trustee level, whether you're challenging down, or from a schools level, whether you're challenging up, I think that honest dialogue is really important, and the understanding of the why around decisions that you're going to make looking future ready across your organisation are hugely important to better understand that. Understanding what the data is that you've used for that evidence-informed decision. I really like that point. Kanak's phrase was we all trust in God, but
in God we trust, but for everything else it's data.
For everything else it's data, yeah. I really like that.
I mean, he's sharing some great insights. They've got a huge base of schools in many challenging rural areas, but again, focusing on that idea that it's really, a lot of it's about the strategic planning and purpose, and not losing sight of the pedagogy, the educational value, whilst bringing in those commercial kind of scalability considerations as well.
Yes, exactly. It's a partnership ultimately at the end of the day, isn't it? And whether you're going to do something small scale or large scale, that aspect hasn't changed. You've still got to have everybody on board, involved in the process, understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you would expect to see as a result of it. And it's all right to make a few mistakes, as long as you don't keep making those mistakes and you twist and you iterate and come back to your guiding purpose, which is the students and education.
And what we've seen is that focus on, we use the governance word, but actually irrespective of your school status and where you sit in the system, governance is at all levels, and sometimes governance happens between senior leaders and staff. It doesn't have to be the governors involved. It's about that schema delegation and everybody having that willingness to be challenged, and to challenge, as you articulated in the presentation, challenge both up and down.
Yeah, and it comes back to your kind of organisational values, I think, really, and it's not a done to, it's a with, it's a partnership thing, and at least it should be. I know it is in your trust, and I know it is in my trust, so Peterborough's doing something right, I think, flying the flag on the governance sector. And
still, I think, on that, but yes, you're right, we're moving.
We all do, but it comes down to that cultural aspect of being comfortable to have what some might deem as difficult or challenging conversations, but actually it's just a conversation at the end of the day.
Let me change this conversation very briefly to tag on the end, because I'm really lucky that we've got you sat here for a quick conversation. We like to celebrate the best in EdTech, but be it the products, the applications of, and the success stories. And one thing that I know you're involved in is this year's EdTech Awards, providing a platform to really showcase some great best practice. For those listening, could you share a bit more about the awards and how they could get involved?
Sure, so if you want to find the awards, if you search for edtechawardsglobal.com, that will get you to all of the various different categories. I'll go more into those categories in a minute. Entry deadlines is the 21st of April, so you've still got 22 and a quarter days in which to apply. So that is very specific. You'll notice that there's a timer at the bottom of the website, you see. So I've made sure I'm accurate in my data on that and collected that. And actually, it doesn't matter if you're an educator in a school, a trustee, or you're a vendor. Really, what we would like to capture is celebrating good things that are happening in the education space around educational technology. You know, and we've really carefully selected the categories to try and highlight that. In the ed space, going back to our governance talk, it is about collaboration and connecting with people, and actually it's partnerships that are really important, and we want to celebrate that.
The one thing that stood out for me, Olly, on that, and I know you've got quite a broad set of categories, but was actually about the fact that the judging process, how you're keeping that kind of independent and separate.
Yeah, so all entrants into the awards are, we've removed any names from the entry by the time it goes to the judges, so we've removed any layer of bias, so you won't know who the entrant is in terms of is it which person or which company it is, So we've removed that layer by anonymising the data. So actually you can just look at it in its rawest sense and form and try and identify the impact that that solution, that person has had in that space and highlight them. And I think that's really important. As you'll know quite often in any space, sometimes it's who you know, not what you know, and actually we're just trying to highlight what's really good in this instance.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing, and I'm going to hand back to the maestro himself, Mr. Prue.